Hi, Kate.
Good morning, Leora.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Yeah,
It's
good.
fine, fine sunny morning in Hertfordshire. So today we are going to dive into all things menopause.
Mm.
So this could be fun because we have Kate deep down in menopause or beyond.
Hello there! Hello, world!
And me, who's just slightly woo-woo with the beginnings of perimenopause. So let's see what fun we can create in this transitional time in
Yeah.
our lives. So looking forward to this.
Mm.
So that question, how are you, is for
Mm.
real.
Yeah,
How are
okay.
you?
Well, actually, I feel a bit, I feel pretty nervous about talking about this because I don't really, I don't necessarily share my own process in such a public forum on YouTube, and it feels quite exposing. So, if
Thank
I'm,
you.
well, I was just thinking, so why the hell would I talk about this stuff in public? And really, it's because there's something that happens when you hear somebody else's experience that it normalizes your own.
Yes.
So I hope that if anybody who watches this says, "Oh God, I have that too," then they'll feel a bit more normal and reassured, and that it's okay, and that there is light at the end of the tunnel. So
Thank you. Thank you for stepping out of a place of coziness
yeah,
to
well,
share your internal process. It's it's looking at the vulnerable, and it's what we do. It is
yeah,
a huge part of what we do together anyway. So,
yeah.
oh, doing that, walking the talk, it ain't easy, but thank you.
Hmm. You're welcome.
So, where are you? Where are you in your menopause process?
Well, good question. I think that I'm proper postmenopausal now in medical terms. Yeah. I think, well, the fact that I don't know when I last bled is probably pretty indicative of, because I used to count the days, remember? I used to be, it's day 517. So I reckon it's more than 2 years since I last had a period. Yeah. So in
So
terms of
medically, you're there.
medically, I'm there. And in terms of the internal process, I think I'm sinking into deep surrender.
Okay.
Mm. But I can say more about that later.
Yeah.
What that
Well,
means.
the terms will become clear
Yeah, yeah.
later. Okay. Wow. That's it's a brave time.
Mm.
Brave time.
Yeah.
So when okay, so 2 years since your last bleed,
Mm.
when did perimenopause start for you? Because that's a long and possibly arduous process. That
Yeah. Well, I was a sort of Daily Mail nightmare, really.
please explain.
I am the Daily Mail's nightmare. As I had kids quite late, so I was 38, I think, when I had my first child, and 40 when I had my second. So I kind of seeged whoosh, straight from postnatal period straight into perimenopause, and
Wow.
yeah, it was very intense, really. So trying to recover with a 40-year-old body from giving birth to two children and all the stuff that happens with newborns and toddlers and stuff, and then all the vulnerability that happens with perimenopause, and all the change and upset was was quite a thing. So I think that was the start of my perimenopause. And what I remember was I'd never, I think, I've always loved my cycle. I've been very blessed to have a lovely, lovely swing and really enjoyed most of it. But that was when I really got raging PMT when the children were small, and it was just that time of needing space, needing more space, but actually having less, and was absolutely unbearable. And I remember we'd almost have a safe word for my partner, and it would be, right, I'm going now. And he would go, right, okay, quick, lie down on the sofa. No children, step away from your mother. And then
so what a blessing! What a blessing to have a partner who was hearing you.
He is a blessing, absolute blessing. And that's mostly what I remember, was the difficulty of managing that, the space, needing space, and not just knowing that I wouldn't have it.
Yes, so this is the perimenopause time, is just when you don't quite know that this process is taking place. So
yeah, and that's when once they got a bit older, that was when I really got into, I started to find out about belly massage and womb massage and stuff. And I remember going to visit somebody to get a massage, visit a therapist to get a massage, purely because I was so disorientated and I was trying to chart what was going on, and it was all over the shop. And I had a very very lovely cycle, and it was there's that sense of feeling very lost to myself as well, I remember.
So the womb work and the womb awareness was what? I want to say a lifesaver, but that's putting words in your mouth. What was it?
Well, I know that you
you
have a very dramatic story about that, and I know it wasn't a lifesaver. It absolutely wasn't. It's a very subtle process. It was very subtle, and I think, it was very incremental and very subtle. And I think that what happened in retrospect, I can see, was that there was something. I'm quite airy and prone to drifting off. Woo! As you know.
There goes Kate.
And grounding has always been a bit tricky. And frankly, I've always found grounding a bit boring, because why would you want to be rooted to the earth when you could fly? It's like, oh, really? No, I can't see any roots. No, can't feel the roots. No. And of course, of course, it's lovely to fly, but it means that for much of my life, I wasn't really able to stay with, and I didn't feel safe, and I didn't feel contained, and I wasn't in many ways, I wasn't really containable. I remember getting some feedback about being so thin-skinned that no one could come near me, or that kind of thing. And I think incrementally, what's happened with the womb work, with the womb awareness, with doing the self-care massage, with doing receiving womb massage, and with the work that we've learnt at Red School, is that I've become grounded. And the piece that was missing for me was the grounding through the womb, really connecting to my pelvic bowl. And of course, you can't, no matter what's going on with your legs and feet and the earth, you can't ground unless you have this crucial junction in the middle, because the energy has to come through and the energy has to come up. So I think that's what's happened. So it's a massive life shift for me, but it's very subtle.
And that grounding, how has that shifted that deeply touching feedback you had of being so thin-skinned?
Well, I think that part of this sort of centering and grounding that I experience more of now has meant that I know better what is mine and what is other. What is me and what is you. So it's about that kind of boundary between self and other, and that over time that has got clearer. So I'm better at saying no, basically, and moving away and protecting my own space.
A deep lesson.
And feeling okay about it, and feeling, well, yeah, actually, that's absolutely fine. Don't come near me.
No rules. So, for women going through menopause, it's such a time of looking at symptoms, looking at what is going on from a symptom point of view. What did that look like for you?
Well, it was a bit of a road crash, really, because I see this time and time again with in my clients as well, and in the wider world, where in your 40s, and for women in their 40s and 50s, we're coming into our power, right? We've been in our work for a while, and okay, I know this stuff. It's time to be seen. I need to get the word out there. I need to educate people about this stuff, and be a bit more visible, and there's a bit of ego in there as well, and get some shit done. And at the same time, there's also this need to go. The call for menopause is to go in, and to stop, and to withdraw. So there's this kind of conflict going on. So I was seeing loads of clients. So I'd really built my practice up. I was seeing loads of clients. I was writing a lot. I was writing all sorts of things. I was getting invited to do things. I have 2 kids and a partner. And
how many businesses?
3. 3 businesses plus side projects, and really my adrenals just said no. Because I absolutely wore myself out. Because what would have been sustainable in my 30s was not sustainable because of this call to go in. So, yeah, I was stuffed. Yeah. I was stuffed. And, again, saved by my partner, who happened not to be working at that time, so he could take care of the children.
I think your reference to the ego, it does make me think of what we've learned through Red School and the menopause process. Is that the menopause process is a death of the ego, part of that.
Yeah.
And just hearing you talk, it's the physical process that really does lead to that internal death of the ego.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's amazing to hear it, to hear that unfolding.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yes.
I knew for some years previously, I knew the theory intellectually. I understood the theory, and I knew I had to stop, and I knew I had to let go. But it just took a very long time. It is taking me a very long time to let go.
So I don't know whether to ask this if the word is right, but how would you say you've recovered, or how would you say you're in a process of recovery on the other side of menopause?
Everything has changed. So my self-care is exemplary. So, ding! So
that is your halo. I will just give that a punch there.
Yeah, I know. But it kind of has to be, because otherwise I fall in a hole. And I try and skip it, but it doesn't work. So there's, sort of meditation and yoga, and I eat very carefully. I have to, I identify as the sort of, who's the woman who wrote that book about the highly sensitive person? Do you remember that?
I don't remember her name.
We'll put it on the notes.
Yes. Yeah.
But I really identify in that way that I tend towards overstimulation. So lots of people, and I get overstimulated, and I love that excitement, but it wears out my adrenals. It's just as much cortisol as the kind of negative bad stress.
Yeah.
So I've kind of tamped down the whole of my life and edited everything out. I've just taken stuff out that doesn't serve me and that wears me down. Again and again and again and again, and it goes on and on and on and on. And really looking at what are the things that I do that are that I do for because I want to have that role, that identity.
Yeah.
You know, am I doing this therapy work because I want to be good and I want to be nice and I want to be liked and seen as, you know, as a good healing person? Or is it because I actually really want to do it? You know, and that's very different. You know, what is that motivation? So really stuff that doesn't serve me at the moment, I really can't do. Because my body tells me to stop. You know, I get pain in my hands. I get, you know, then I stop sleeping and then I can't sleep and then, you know, and then everything goes badly wrong. And it's I have to be ruthless. You know, I really have to be ruthless. And I have a quote. Can I do my quote?
Of course you can do your quote, but before you do your quote,
okay.
I just want to say that from what you're saying now, you're witnessing this process of really weeding out what doesn't serve you and recognizing. And I think we had a conversation the other day where you just said that is not my calling, and just bringing you back to. This is what it's all about post-menopause, isn't it? It is meeting your calling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So please share your quote.
Thank you. Well, I found this in my inbox the other day, and you know, the process of menopause is about releasing, surrendering. We talked about surrender earlier, and that's the process of surrendering that I mentioned earlier, where everything that doesn't serve has to be let go. And going inwards so that we can then come out renewed. And, you know, in a way that we're kind of blessed to have this because we have a biological imperative when we bleed every month, but also more in a bigger way in menopause for this renewal. But poor old blokes, they don't have that. Oh, they have to do it all by themselves. And I got the quotes from Seamus Heaney, and it says he was writing about the authentic life or something like that, and it says it involves being time, to your own solitude, true to your secret knowledge. And I thought that was just beautiful, just really a beautiful way of expressing menopause. And I really liked that it was a quote from a bloke as well. I thought it was really funny.
But really touching.
Yeah, it's
that it can be recognised.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So staying true, yes, your secret
true
knowledge.
To your secret knowledge.
True to your secret knowledge. Beautiful. Okay. So I know, and there are a number of people that do know, and you have made it public, that part of your stepping out of menopause is taking a sabbatical.
Yeah.
Menopause half gap year.
Yes, a menopause gap year. Gap 6.5 months.
Share with us.
Well, it really came about because my hands are getting sore. You know, I've been massaging or doing body work of some kind or another for 24 years or something. And it's really about that process of refining that I was talking earlier, and about trying to go back to what my motivation and what I really want to do, and refining my calling. Yeah. So I'm taking 6.5 months off, and I will be doing. Well, I want to do creative stuff. Yeah. So making things, painting, those kinds of things. Yeah. But really drop in as well, and go inwards and call on my lovely therapist and therapeutic resources and teachers, and drop down. So, you know,
Look,
when
I
I
can
start...
see your face changing
Can
as
you?
you
Yeah.
say the words.
Yeah.
It's not long now.
No, it's not
It's not
long.
long.
But you know, who knows? And of course, my head's going nuts with, well, what are you going to do? And who are you going to be? And you can't do that. And your clients won't come back, and panicking. But I have a really clear feeling that I have to let go. I have to just stop so I can move forward.
Surrender.
Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Damn it!
Surrendering.
Yeah,
Surrendering in that process.
Yeah.
Okay. So part of the reason we're doing this, and with deep thanks to Kate for sharing your internal process. We are running a workshop, and that is on the 1st of November. We're running Love Your Menopause under our new guise as Womankind. Now, obviously, we've chatted through a fair amount of the menopause process, which is deeply moving, really moving. So I'm going to say thank you again. But yes, this gives us the opportunity to share how to walk through those steps.
Yeah.
So what would you like to say about the workshop?
I think, well, obviously, I think it's fab, but I think that it's useful for women who are perimenopausal and menopausal, because it's one of the very few places where you can get an inner guide to locate your inner compass and find out where you are in the process from the inside rather than from the outside. And it does two things. It gives you your inner authority. It gives us back our inner authority, so we can understand where we are and what needs to happen next. But probably more fun and even better, it gives you companionship of other women in the same situation, and that is it's like soothing balm. It's like bathing in soothing oil. And the enemy, if you want your menopause symptoms to go kapow, cortisol is the thing. Cortisol will set everything off. And worry and anxiety and isolation and feeling weird and lost will set off all that cortisol. So being with other women and seeing your own story in them and sharing where you're at it's really helpful.
And realising that you don't have to fight against the tide.
Yes. That it's okay.
Yeah.
In all its messiness.
Yeah.
And discomfort.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Because that's not
really okay.
because we're not presenting a rose-tinted version of the menopause. It's getting real, and as you say, that companionship and that being able to share your own story with women who are going to understand.
Yeah, it's a good
just who are walking the path with you. Thank you, Kate. Thank you very, very much. And
thank you.
Yes, you'll be popping details on how to join the workshop with the video, won't you?
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I think it'll be a look below situation.
One of them.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Okay, bye, Leora.
Bye.